Okay, my name is James Williams Jr., and this is the last video involving supernatural stuff. I cannot force you to believe anything that I say, but I will give you the 99.9 that I always do. Let's see, where can I begin? This video is about the veil. I promised in another video that I would make a video about the veil. I am a fan of creepypasta. I am a fan of something scary. I am a fan of all these storytellers that be on YouTube. They rarely show their face, and they have the power to do animation, and they have Patreons and all that stuff, and I would never ask for any of that because I just want to be happy making films. However, if I could get sponsors like Coke or Pepsi and some product placement, I'll be more than willing to do that. I'll be more than willing to endorse anybody who's willing to help me grow my channel. Now, that being said, let us begin. Okay, so as I said before, I'll say it again. Let me give you my ethnic background so that you guys will understand how some things I can acknowledge and how some things I can't. I am of Cherokee Indian on both sides. I'm of black on both sides, and I'm of white descent on one side. So now let's begin. Because spirituality does not discriminate. I don't know much about a lot of white magical tribal stuff. I know enough about Native American tribal magic that I can talk about it, and the same thing with black magic. I do not practice any of this crap because, to quote Adam Beach in the Warrior in the Cabinet, or the Indian in the Cabinet, as it's actually called, you should not mess with magic that you do not understand. Alright? I'm a strong believer in not crossing boundaries that I don't have control over or that I don't understand. Now, there's a spiritual veil that separates our world from the spiritual realm. Science and other people have been trying to prove that everything is relative, that everything is happening at the same time, that the past, present, and future are just one step behind each other and they have not caught up with each other. Star Trek has tried to prove this theory. I can't say the same for Star Wars, but for like Star Trek and comic books and things like that, they're all relative. Alright, now, this veil, very few people have this veil. And if you ever seen the movie The First Power with Lou Diamond Phillips, they often mention something about the veil and you having the power of second sight and stuff like that. Second sight are people who are clairvoyant, who have psychic gifts beyond gifts, or gut feelings that tell you where you should not be going and things like that. And a lot of people wind up in trouble because they don't follow their gut. So before we go there, many years ago, when I was with the love of my life, who will remain nameless just so that there's no legal legality, she wanted to go to Skyline Drive. And this was the same year that a young lady and her boyfriend were slain. Well, the young lady survived, but the boy didn't. Were slain on Skyline Drive. It was the exact same day. And the love of my life wanted to go there so bad. But I had this feeling in my guts. And I was like, nah, we can't go. And she's like, what? I said, no, there's something wrong and we can't go. It's like, why? I said, I don't know why, but I know we can't go. I can feel it. We can't go. We can go anywhere else, but we can't go there. And it's like, what? I was like, trust me, we can't go there. There's something wrong. I feel it in my fucking soul that we cannot go there. We can go anywhere else, but we can't go there. Within hours of me and her having that conversation is when that murder and severe wounding of that young man and that woman happened. It's like within hours. With the motorcycle. Because he's outside and he can't see those damn lights. But I have had this ability for quite some time. And I've always followed my gut. When my gut tells me not to go somewhere, I don't go there. It's just something that's ingrained in me. Now, as far as the veil offers itself up to those who are susceptible to seeing it. And I'm not talking about you're susceptible because you do drugs and you get high. Sometimes people are susceptible just because it's genetic and some of the family members have the gifts of second sight and among other things. Now, we had an incident in our family where a parent of mine, we will leave her name out, had a vision if you would. And one of my siblings' best friends was at a party and he lost his life. But my parent saw him come to our house to say goodbye. Alright, and we were living at 811 E. Hardy Drive at the time, which everyone who's ever lived in the projects has always thought that the projects was haunted, because people have sworn that they've seen ghosts and stuff there. And I'm not one to doubt ghosts. Trust me on that. As a person who's been attacked by a spirit, I'm not one to doubt ghosts. Alright, so that being said, other spiritual things have happened to people in my family. Both sides, only a couple of sides have shared this with me. My grandmother on my mom's side has shared some seriously spiritual shit happening to us in her old house, the one that burnt down, and with one of her sons that led me into being possessed by the witch rider, if you would, and things like that. So every now and again, I used to get a glimpse of things that no one else could see. Henceforth the wraith, henceforth other ghostly things, you know. As I've gotten older, this ability has since left me. I don't know if it's because I have indoctrinated the way of normal people, or I just stopped believing and seeing things that weren't there. So this veil, this spiritual veil, this veil, they've made cartoons about it, but this veil allows people to see through the veil at certain points of time, where you would see somebody who had existed and no longer exists, and you just get a glimpse. And there are some people who actually can see all the way through and see the things around us that no one else can see. A lot of these people are mediums, and a lot of these mediums can tell you that the veil is there, you know, and you don't have to like have a higher form of enlightenment, which means you don't have to go and get high to see through this veil. But the veil is very important because it is the wall that locks away the spiritual realm from the physical realm. And a lot of people are going to look at me and say, what the hell does that mean? Okay, so if you're an X-Men fan, you know that X-Men have supernatural powers. Some of the X-Men are psychics, and some of them also, as like Mirage, aka Danielle Moonstar, can pull your nightmares out of your head and bring them to life. That's her superpowers. The veil is kind of like her. She can see things through the veil and bring them to life. Now, the X-Men don't use that, but I'm using her as an example because Danielle Moonstar's power literally is to bring things from your head to life. She can bring your nightmares to life. That's why her code name was Mirage, because she could bring mirages to life. Now, that shit's probably been retconned like a motherfucker, but that's the best example that I can give you. Because the spiritual veil, you could be out in the park. The spiritual veil will show you something that you've seen before but you didn't see before at the same time. The spiritual veil also kind of affects deja vu. It's like if you've ever seen like you've relived a day. It's like, didn't I do this before? And it's the deja vu thing. It's part of the spiritual veil. A lot of people don't know that, so I'm going to go ahead and enlighten you on that. If you've gone someplace that you've never been before, but you've been there, you've probably dream walked there, or you've seen through the spiritual veil and it has prepared you for this. Deja vu is basically the same damn thing. Because deja vu is like, okay, didn't we meet somewhere before? Even though you've probably never met this person, but you probably have met them on a different plane of existence. Henceforth dream walking, henceforth the spiritual veil. Now, these things are things that you can probably do research and you will probably find nothing really concrete about it. Most of the spiritual veil things, people who experience it, they don't really go out and share it. Henceforth, like I just shared in my other videos about the witch rider, the wraith, and dreamwalking. So this thing about the veil kind of combines all of those videos together. And I probably should have made this video first, but I didn't. Don't mean I can't post it first. But the whole point is, the spiritual veil is there so that most non-believers believe that they are safe and secure. We call those guys skeptics. Now, the spiritual veil only reveals itself to certain people where it lifts off so that you can see, if I may quote the Thundercats, a sight beyond sight, if you would. Second sight is the ability to see the future, or to see into someone's future, but rarely can see into your own. So when people ask psychics, do you know how you're going to die? And a psychic will always say no, because that's not how it works, which is a sideways truth to that. Most people know how they're going to die, they just don't know when they're going to die. And if they don't really follow their instincts, then they won't know exactly how they're going to die. But for the most part, a lot of people don't want to believe in their feelings when they think that they're going to die this way. They're like, nah, that can't happen, or I'm not going to die that way. I get to choose. No, you don't get to choose when or how you leave, but you do know that you are going to leave. You just don't know when, you don't know where, and you don't know how. The spiritual veil only reveals yea so much. And if the veil reveals to you when you're going to die, then you should probably take that into consideration. And here's the thing. I'm a strong believer that the hands of fate can be changed. Maybe not denied, but they can be changed. And if it's something meant for you to do or achieve, then you are going to do it come hell or high water. You may accomplish it in death, or it may be the thing that kills you. But the spiritual veil is one of those things that it's harder to explain to people who don't believe in supernatural stuff than it is to explain to people who do. And if you're a supernatural believer, but you don't believe in God, how can you really say you're a supernatural believer? And if you're a person who believes in God, but don't believe in supernatural beings like Coyote the Trickster, the Deer Woman, Ra, the Sun Gods, and all these other people that have come up through history, but knowing that there's only one true God before them all, you know, you have to question yourself. I made a video, I don't know if it's got any hits or anything because I rarely check them because no one ever leaves me the comments. But I made a video about how I don't fear God because I know that I cannot beat God, and I know that whatever He says is going to happen, there's nothing I can really do to stop it. Now, the hands of fate, on the other hand, is something that you can change. But if God says this is what's going to happen, there's nothing that the hands of fate can do. Now, this spiritual veil kind of works in that same process because some things we are allowed to see. The spiritual veil will basically be like the Matrix, for you young people. And I'm not saying that everybody here just seeing the spiritual veil as an agent and that they're going to change and look like my ugly ass. But, the whole thing is that your view of what you see in your perception, if the spiritual veil allows you to see beyond things that you don't understand. Like if you see something that's a ghost, like if you look out your window right now and you see a whole fuck ton of Native Americans riding with bow and arrows, and then you see another fuck ton of cowboys and things riding in your backyard, and you're living out in the desert somewhere, you're probably reliving an event through the spiritual veil where you're seeing this stuff actually happen the way it happened. And if you go outside and you find a musket ball or an arrowhead or some stuff like that, then you know that it happened. It just didn't happen on your plane of existence. It happened on a different plane of existence. Hopefully you're understanding that the spiritual veil operates on planes of existence. Alright? So if you're seeing things and you're peering through the veil, you get to see the past, present, and the future. However, you cannot react to that because what you're seeing, those people are probably seeing you. And y'all both don't have the power or the strength to stretch through the veil and change the course of a life event. Now, if they can prove that you can do that, I like to be the first guy to volunteer for that, just to see if it could actually happen. But I don't want to lose an arm or a leg reaching through the veil and then getting snatched back, but I can't pull anything back with me. But you never know. If you could go through the veil with one body part and snatch something off of a brave or something off of a cowboy, like an original musket before it's fired, where there's no damage, and could pull it back, would you, should you, could you? Most people would do it just because they want to know if it can be done. But how will it affect history is the question. Or how will it affect the timeline or whatever else you want to call it. But the spiritual veil does allow you to see into possible past, possible future, present day. And if you're in the past, you're probably looking at one of us right now. If you're in the future, you're probably looking back to us in the present or further back. So if you have the ability to see through the veil, you don't have the ability to warn the future or the past of what's going to be our fate. I'm James Williams Jr. You guys want to look into this spiritual veil thing? Please knock yourself out. Give me more information. I've given you what I know, and what I know may not be 1,000% accurate, but I have no need to lie to you about it, so there you go. This is 15 minutes of your life that you can't get back. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you thoroughly watch these things. And if you have a comment, leave a like and subscribe. Be seeing you. I am going to be doing more Kung Fu stuff. This is just like one of those side stream breaks because it was storming outside. And I'm not going to take my computer outside in the rain. Later.